Thank God for Sean. I should probably even turn that on. There we go. Holy moly.
To ask for it, but I think it's good to do it.
Yeah, I am live on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, of course. I won't put the person's name. It might be a gift or something, but I'll just put my name.
Yeah, there we go. It's Kevin.
Hey, Chris
Oh,
Lord.
look at that. It's
Look what I got
Tuesday.
here. What do you think this is?
I don't know. Here, let me come find you. What do you got? Oh, I got a guess. I got a guess. Is that from
Mr. Kagura?
Oh, with the naked lady sheath.
With the naked lady sheath. Yeah. So somebody just bought this knife.
Nice.
And look at the naked lady. And they bought a book too. So I'm going to sign it. How do you feel about that?
I'm going to cough because I just sucked in a knife. I just sucked in a mustache hair. Holy. I've been shedding a lot of mustache in the mask lately. So I brushed my beard a lot extra this morning to try to get all of those out. Missed one. So, well, here.
That's pretty funny and weird.
Yeah, well, you know me. You know me.
Sultan from Costa Rica says hi to all. Or Puerto Rico. I don't remember who it was. Sultan, where you were. Where were you? Channeling Major Newfie. Chris?
I thought, yeah, where you at? Sultan, where you at? Stay where you're at. I'll come where you're too. That's what you said.
I'll come where you're too.
Yeah. So this is Tuesday, so that means it's Japanese Knife 101, which is Knifewear's weekly Ask Me Anything, which is very conveniently timed as it is day 2 of garage sale. And yesterday was day 1 of garage sale, where Kevin hung out.
It was, wasn't it?
Where you see him. He was there for about
9 hours.
Oh, geez, 9 hours. Yeah. Subbing Mike and Nauto in on occasion.
It's a fact. Sultan's in Puerto Rico.
Oh,
and
that's fun.
I think we helped him find a Deba yesterday.
Oh, wicked. Wicked. I like Debas. I don't get to use Debas very much. So Brian Crook I saw Brian Crook's name on the old packing a few boxes. Oh, and Don Penny says, what are you at? That's because Don's from Corner Brook, Newfoundland. Don, me
Corner Brook once. I stopped the whole city of Corner Brook.
Oh, really?
They stopped and stared at me.
Oh, I bet. Corner Brook has the man in the mountain. Did you know that? There's like a mountain that you can see from the highway, and there's like a face in it, like this naturally occurring.
That's kind of creepy.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say they have a magnetic hill. But look at this. So here we go. Listen, I got to tell you.
Yeah, let's talk about
this. This is the kegger. This is the one, the kegger I wanted. It's sold. And they're getting the book. So I'm going to sign the book here. But maybe
you should sign the book. You son of a gun, you took my knife. That's what you should sign.
Well, what if it's for a gift or something? I'm just going to put my name in it. How's that?
That's cool. You can sign my name too if you like. I signed a person's knife one day, or a person's book one day. Even though I didn't write it, but there is a picture of my hands in it.
That there is.
And I like to tell everyone that that you just poached all the best parts from me.
Well, I did.
Your Koishi is coming along very well.
Thanks. That's right. That's what I do.
So what we do?
We haven't done anything. We're just talking.
Yeah, we're talking. Well, we're talking about that. You know, there's a knife and a book. Like that's fine. So, Robin says you can sign their name. That's fine. You should sign Robin Sharkey.
I signed Kevin, Chris, Robin, Kent in it.
Oh, there we go.
Everybody's covered, you know, man.
So, Japanese Knife 101 every Tuesday. This time, this bat channel. And we generally kind of open the floor to any questions that someone might have while, like, you know, picking a knife or taking care of their knives, or what's a good knife for a good job, what's anything that might be kind of kitchen and knife related. You can always fire up in the comments, and Kevin and I will get to you as best we can. This week at Knifewear and all the Knifewear stores, so Ottawa, which is obviously the most fun store because it's where I work, Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver. We've got the garage. Would you call it a biannual because it happens twice a year? Does biannual mean it haans every second year?
I believe biannual.
Biannual garage sale.
Bi-monthly means it happens.
Means you get paid twice a month. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you have to pay for your car twice a month. Those are the only times that word ever comes up for me. So we've got the garage sale going on, which is the result.
Listen, Chris, sorry to interrupt. Somebody had asked.
Yeah.
What were my must-haves, like the knives that I wanted, and what was left that I could grab. So I'm collecting those, but I'll be right back. So keep talking. I got you in my ears. I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm going to walk away.
All right. So garage sale is the result of Kevin taking a trip over to Japan. Now it didn't work quite that way this year. So
I took a Zoom trip.
A Zoom trip, lots of Zoom trips. But the garage sale is always like, it's a good chance to like we meet new blacksmiths and we get to carry some of their stuff, or maybe it's something new and fun from someone we already know. There's usually a ton of like door crasher, like really good stuff for Christmas. There's a ton of like, really unique stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Frederico just said that they just ordered today, he's in Austria, or they're in Austria, ordered a Moritaka Nakiri and a Moritaka Hanasuki. Can't wait for it.
Sweet.
So that's fun. Yeah, I like both of those things. I got a real soft spot for the old Moritakas. Don is asking if there's any cool stuff in the store right now he should avoid coming to see. There's a lot of cool stuff in the store still, Don. I've got a little pile of knives here as well that I'm going to show off.
Well, maybe you want to start with that because I can't believe they sold all those Takeda folders, but I can't find any.
I have one here. I have one.
But I can't find any here, which is upsetting to me. Oh, here we go.
You found something?
Huh?
Cool. Well, I'll start with the knife that I was super stoked on when the day got started, but someone's gone and moved it. I think someone's trying to buy the damn thing.
Someone trying to buy your knife? That's not fair, man. It's not right. Okay, well, you know what? These are ones that there was a lot of really funky handles and stuff. But these Kobayashi knives, I was all about the 210. I really like the 210 from this fella, but I got a Santoku here in the store. Now it says 462 on it, but I believe there's a 15% discount on those. Is that with the discount or not?
That's the 462 is not with the discount.
Oh, so that'll be.
Well, in Ontario, it's
that'll be under $400.
Yeah, I think it ends up being around like 360 or something like that. I'm sure someone with a calculator will tell us very quickly. And
I hope so. We're not smart enough to run a calculator.
No, I guess I got one right here. I got my phone right here. Just didn't want to play with my phone while I was talking to you guys. It's bad
Don't do that then.
Big
what are we doing?
Big Deb would lay the beats to me if she knew that.
Oh yeah, Robin Shark, he said, I scooped the Haruki Yokuma Petty with my Kurosaki and Murata too. Nice.
Wow.
Can you tell me a little bit about the Haruki? I've been adding to my stainless knives, but I don't know much about it. Well, I can tell you one thing about the Yokuma. That was the first. I bought a 180 Santoku, and that was the first Japanese knife I ever bought. Bought that in England in '99, and that changed everything for me. So that was what 20 years ago, 21 years ago. 21 years ago, and now I work at a knife store, so that's pretty cool. What I love about it is the SRS-15 steel is what they use to make they make dentist drills out of it, so it can drill through human teeth, which means it stays sharp a really long time, and that's the beauty of that knife. I also liked it as a chef too because it didn't look too flash, so I didn't have to worry about anybody.
Yeah, no one's gonna steal your knife.
Sometimes in restaurants, nice things grow legs and walk away because you work with some nefarious humans sometimes, and And
Yeah.
that knife never walked away because it didn't look like anything special, which is great. I thought it just like a very classic, simple look to it.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice.
Boop. AJ is asking why there's a different payment process for the garage sale items as opposed to the regularly stocked items. I don't know if that's the case. If that is the case, it's
Somebody
news
say
to me.
it was awesome.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good question about Makoto Kurosaki. Does he do much forging, Kevin? Is he? I don't know a ton about him. How does Makoto go about it?
I know Makoto well. He's my squid fishing sensei.
Ah,
You know that? He.
I was there.
Were you there for our early morning squid fishing event where we didn't catch any fish?
You dropped me off at Takafu Knife Village and barely waited for someone who could speak English to come find me. And then you ran off and went fishing. And then Visty was chasing me around with one of those gigantic murder hornets that he found on the ground.
Oh yeah, he's a terrible man.
Yeah.
Anyway, Makoto, he works. He's a sharpener. He also works at a sickle factory with Kato.
Oh, okay.
Kato-san Senior's wife has a rice sickle factory for harvesting rice.
Oh, okay.
And he works there. He also makes knives and hunting knives, kitchen knives and hunting knives.
Okay.
But not a ton of them. But check it out, man.
Yeah.
There's his. This is a 210 from him.
Oh yeah, I've got a Santoku within reaching.
367, and it's VG10.
Yeah.
And I just think that's such a cool look, right?
Yeah.
It's got an octagon handle, which I always love.
That's ebony wood too, eh?
And it's ebony. You can tell by how heavy it is. Like the wood's got a totally different feel than rosewood.
Yeah, it's
There's
super dense.
Santoku. There's the Santoku for $299.
Can you give me that
look at that. Knife? You can really see the polish on the spine there too. Look at that, Chris. It's like a mirror polish on the spine. It's cool.
Yeah, I really wanted to show a Saji knife, and I was joking before that someone was trying to buy my knife, and they actually did.
They actually bought your knife?
Yeah.
Which one were you trying to show? I might have one here.
I wanted to show one of those quince-handled Sajis.
Like this guy here?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. I'll hold it.
Well,
up
no, I had one of the.
lucky.
I didn't have that one. I had the one with like kind of that like oval, like that Miyabi style handle.
Oh, that one. Oh, here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. That was my favorite one.
I got it, and it's got a magnet box.
Yeah, I know. That they're
Everyone
so
likes a magnet
slick.
box.
So.
Well, here, I'll hold it up, and you talk about it.
Yeah.
This is the 210. It's $465.
Yeah. It's made out of R2, which is a powdered stainless steel. It's really, really hard. Now, the ones that we had in my store were super thin. They were so thin. It would be one of those, when we call it a laser. People like that word, lasers.
These are really thin knives, right?
Yeah. And the handle it's really, really comfortable. The wood has kind of got a bit of this I'm not trying to sound too artsy here, but it's got a real warmth to it, that wood. It's real smooth, and it feels like it belongs in your hand. It's really, really nice. But yeah, no, I was really stoked on that. I wanted, it's what happens to me every year. I find a knife and I put it off because I want to wait till the week's over. Because that's my test, is if it's here for a week, I'll do it. But I guess I missed it. Yeah, I really, really like those. So if that's one that everyone should kind of have their eye on.
This one's got a wiggle in it, though. Look at that. It's made of rubber, Chris.
Yeah. Oh, I could do that with a pencil.
Only if it's made of rubber.
Only if it's a rubber pencil. Sultan has a good question. Can you explain the difference in the Tojiro lines? There are so many. The NP, the DP, the Flash, the Dodoro. Which one is a beginner or experts? I guess he means which ones are for beginners, which ones are for experts.
Well, why don't you talk about that? I'm going to dig into this because there's this question from AJ. It says, why is
Okay.
there a different payment process for garage sale than regular stocked items?
Yeah.
I didn't think there was. So I'm just
Yeah,
gonna,
he says it didn't allow for Apple Pay or to store the payment information. So
hold on. I'm going to dig into that, okay? I've got the person to talk to.
Yeah,
You talk
we'll
about
find that answer
Tojiro.
out, AJ. Yeah, so Tojiro, like a lot of the different lines has to do more with the finishes. So I don't have a lot of it handy, but the DP is kind of the standard kind of chef's knife look. You know, it's got the Western style handle. This is not a Tojiro DP. They're at the other end of the room, and I don't want to leave you all alone. But they've got the 3 rivets and the pack of. It's called Eco Wood, actually. It's kind of like pack of wood, but they do a mixture of sawdust with epoxy to make Eco Wood, which is kind of cool. But most of their knives, they use VG10 or molybdenum vanadium for some of the other lines. Like we had that budget set, that's molybdenum vanadium, the DP, and then there's the Tsuchime Kurochi one. Those are both made out of VG10. So they're going to be, I would say for the most part, Tojiro knives are going to be really good for someone who has a lot of work to get through and they don't want something too finicky, or you've got a beginner who doesn't want to have to fuss over the knife too much. The Flash had a micarta handle, and I think I might have one around here. It had a pretty hefty handle, so I'll go and grab that. Here's a Flash. So I quite like them. I like micarta as a handle material. It's something that's very durable.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a Tojiro Flash there. So the handle there is, you know, it's a lot heftier. It's got some good weight to it. Really nice Damascus. There's another micarta. That's the new one, eh? That's the one that replaced the Home.
Yeah, listen, Ellie's just digging them out now. We just found a box of Tojiro Home yesterday on our way out the door. This is the Oboro. This is the Oboro.
Okay.
This is the oval handle that replaced the Home. The Home handle is a little bit complicated, and what they were developing is like little hair cracks about there or about here. Like, so they had these little tiny hair cracks in the blade or in the handle. They don't affect anything. They just have a little tiny crack in it. But we're going to sell them for half price. So she's going to get them right now. But like a Santoku, I think, in that line, the Home line. So this one's the Oboro. It's $149.
Yeah.
I believe the Home is the same price, which is $149, which means we have got some Santokus and I think bread knives from the Home that are half price. They're $75.
Oh, that's good. A lot of people have been asking about bread knives lately. Yeah.
I don't know what's in that box, but if you give me a second, I can go look. Did you talk about this Tojiro line?
I mentioned it. I mentioned the.
The great thing about this one is that it was discontinued, which was not great because it was a fantastic knife. It was discontinued, so we stopped ordering it, and then they told us they had a bunch left, so we bought all of them.
Oh wow!
We bought 300 of them, I think, of different sizes. So we bought all of them, so we still have some left. We'll have some left probably until Christmas. It's like that's $179 for a Santoku. It's got that hammered look. It's got the lacquered Kurochi. It's VG10. Like, it's a rad little knife. Yeah. And it's going to be awesome. Like, that's such a great gift knife, you know, and you get that and the honing rod, you're still like at $200, right? It's not a.
Well, and that's kind of like, it's that time of year too, right? Like it's Christmas time. So, or it's, you know, it's like kind of the big gift giving time. The holidays are coming up for all of us. So like those make a good gift. Because when I'm trying to help someone, we did it quite a bit today. There's a lot of people coming in the shop looking for gifts. And I always focus on, you know, I've always got 3 points that I like to stick to. The first is that I think it's gotta look good. Right? Now that varies from person to person. Someone, you know what, I really like, I like a hammered finish. I like a lot of the Kurochis and things like that. The darker, rough-looking steel is really good for me. But some people really like Damascus or, you know, a mirror polish or something like that. Everyone's got their style. But I think you got to find something that looks good and it's going to make them say, wow, I really want this. They should know it was special. The next thing is that it should be easy to take care of. So if it's like if it's their first knife, I would normally settle in on a stainless steel. You know, could be VG10 is really great. I really like the Haruki Mugis for a gift. Like the AUS 8 is a really great steel. They're not. It takes a little bit more of a beating than some others, but you know, this is also a really good option here. We got these new Sunihisas. They're in the garage sale. They're
Chris Lord,
AUS 10, which I'd never heard of
these
before.
Tojiro Home,
Yeah.
or just go on the website right now. This is the Santoku. This is the handle. Now, all of these handles, yeah, like they're so small, the cracks.
Yeah.
Can you see? Like there's a little crack right.
Well, I remember when we had them in the spring garage sale, like
you see
I had
that?
to
I guess
like,
you can see.
I can barely see it in the camera, but that,
Yeah.
you know, I got bad eyes, so.
But they are there. You can barely see them, these little cracks. And like, they just don't, yeah, like this one here. You see that? There's like little tiny cracks.
Yeah, tiny. They're not gonna do anything though. It's not like
No,
it's
you're
not
not
gonna
going to
make
do
the
anything at
handle
all.
fall.
And we're doing them for half price. Ellie's just building those things right now. But I think, honestly, I think the Santoku is $75.
Yeah, I think that's
This
what it
one
was
here?
in the spring when we thought we
I
had
think
more.
this one here is going to be about $65 or $70 also. Like
yeah, that's like
140. I think
Yeah.
145. You can get both of these.
Yeah, that's a great.
Dude, that's such a good deal. Like I'm actually thinking I should grab one of these homes for me because I like this size.
Yeah.
I like this little 160 Petty or a 160 Yuto. I think that's a really great little size. That's just handy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's good. Like, cause I do a lot of my cooking at home. Like, I know, like, I spend a lot of time saying that, you know, my favorite knives are 240 Gyutos, and that's true. Like, that's what those are what I always want to buy for myself. But I would say one of the knives I use the most is that Kagura 150 Gyuto that I got when I first started working here. I probably use that little knife the most because most of my cooking is making my kids breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You know? So Don, we'll when we kind of go through the box there, we'll see if we can find a bread knife for you to take a look at. And then over on, I wanted to answer, Frederico was saying he has a Tojiro DP and find it really difficult to sharpen it. I use a Naniwa 800 Pro. Is that normal?
Well,
it shouldn't be too difficult for you.
You should start with something coarser, I'll bet. If it's taking you too long.
Yeah.
800
yeah, if it's too difficult. Yeah, it's probably, there you go. No, me go. I'll go. Yeah, 800. You probably want to go like dip down to like if you're using the professional stones, the 400 would kind of help cut away some more steel a little faster, a little bit easier. Then you can go to the 800 and maybe up to like I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000, depending on what you want. It might also be time to thin the knife out if you've been sharpening it yourself for a while and you've never taken the time to thin out that shinogi. It's hard to see on a Tojiro DP, but it is there. There is a primary bevel there, and it'll probably need thinning if you haven't done that yet and if you've had it for a while. That can be a bit of a pain in the ass. I know you're not close to one of our stores, but you'd want something nice and coarse for that. You know, if it's real bad, get one of those Atoma diamond plates. People look at me sideways when I put a knife to them, but sometimes a lot of metal needs to come off sometimes.
Yeah. They're fast. They take a lot of metal off. It's good. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know you have to have some skills at sharpening, and you actually have to have some confidence to pull that one off. Listen, we got some interesting questions here. Like, Where was it now? Would it be safe to cut freeze-dried meat with a gyuto?
I think if you had a gyuto made out of a softer steel, for sure you could.
I think it depends on the gyuto, and it depends on how big the meat is. Like if it's just like
Yeah,
thin slices of freeze-dried meat, like beef jerky,
that's kind of what I'm picturing. Yeah,
right? But if it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know, do they freeze dry?
I've never dealt with freeze-dried
It's
beef. I don't
Happy
know.
Daisy gourmet dog food, so there might be an ingredient they use to make their dog food, or maybe they sell
Yeah,
freeze-dried. I don't know. Happy Daisy
Yeah.
gourmet dog food. Give us some more information about what kind of how big the meat is, how hard it is, maybe, and what kind of gyuto you have.
because if they're dealing with a big piece of meat, they might want to get one of those crazy Arcos cleavers. You know, like the big,
Everybody wants
but you
one
know
of
the
those.
one I mean, like the one that's on the wall
know.
that every single person says, "What's that knife for?"
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, there is a
Well,
lot of good questions today.
Remember when I said there was Tojiro Home bread knives?
Yes.
I lied.
Oh, he lied.
I'm a liar. There's the Santokus. There's about 6 Santokus and about 6 160 gyutos. And I think honestly, I think I'm taking one of those 160 gyutos home because I just think that's a handy home knife.
Mm.
Yeah, I think that's a good home knife. And Federico.
2 inches thick and the consistency of
got the
styrofoam.
Say again?
I said, no, they got back to us there. They say it's about 2 inches thick and the consistency of styrofoam. Well, you should be able to use a gyuto if it's not too dense.
Just don't twist it, right?
Yeah.
Don't twist it. Just cut through it. I think you should be all right.
Yeah, I think so too.
Here we go. Here's some information. Our sale is semi-annual. It's not biannual because it is biannual and semi-annual because that means 2 times per year.
Okay.
Biennale, biennial means every 2 years. Biannual means 2 times a year. There you go. Yet biweekly means every 2 weeks.
Every second week? Oh, every 2 weeks. Okay.
So there's your English lesson for today. It's difficult, which is how most things in Japan are. If you ask Shiba.
Yep, they're difficult. I've been there for that. Greg Stevenson is asking, he wants to start a collection and finding the Yu Kurosaki finish is very cool. Yeah, well, because he makes really cool knives.
Cool.
Yeah. How many different finishes does he have? And are there any other blacksmiths that do a similar thing? Well, Kurosaki, I don't know how many finishes he has. He has a ton, because he's always coming up with new stuff as well. But yeah, so Kevin's got a Manaka knife there. So the big, I don't know.
On the website, they're called Kisuke.
Yeah. I've got one. Oh, you got the other one there. Cool. So I don't know. I might even say I don't know. Kurosaki is a really good blacksmith, and he's very well known for doing these crazy finishes. Like he'll make different hammers just to put different finishes on the knives. That's how the Masakage Shimo came to be, was he made an X-shaped hammer to make that very particular style of Damascus on the knife. But yeah, the Kisuke, those are going to be really good for that. A lot of the younger blacksmiths are kind of messing around with some different things like that. Remember, we used to get a couple garage sales ago, we got those Ogata, some knives from a blacksmith named Ogata. He did, I always called it it was like a 180 Nikiri. They were really tall, but I always called them the Saved by the Bell knife.
Like this guy, really reminds me of that Ogata.
Yeah.
It's really super tall on the heel. It looks like a Santoku, but it's a 210 Gyuto. And back to people asking me if there's anything left that I want to buy, this is one of them. In fact, do we have any of these left, Ellie? Because I'm going to steal it today. Good, Ellie. I'm also taking one of these. No, I'm taking one of. Where's the home? I want to take the home 160 and this one. And sorry, Chris. I'm just talking to Ellie now, telling her what I'm shopping for. I'm tired today. Are you tired?
Oh, I'm drained.
Do you want me to play some guitar instead?
Well, you can. Well, I can answer a couple questions if you want to go get your guitar.
I can't play worth a damn though. Poor people would have
Well,
to listen.
that's I wanted to answer. Anthony Barca says, "Hey guys, question. My Mabroshi sticks really bad in raw fish. I thinned it down, including significantly raising the Shinogi line and polished up to 6K, but there's still a ton of friction. Any tips? Run cold water over your knife before you like if the knife is wet. It's one thing that I didn't know this for a long time, but if the knife is wet and when you go to slide it through the fish, that should help quite a bit.
Sushi shop trick.
Yeah.
Get a towel quite wet, fold it up, and have it sitting on your station. So have your towel sitting there and just pat your knife with a really wet cloth. So you don't have to run the water. You just go pat, pat, and then slice, pat, pat, slice.
Yeah, it adds a bit of lubrication to your knife. So that could help. Try that. Otherwise, maybe sharpen it up a bit. There's a few people who just tuned in on Instagram. You guys should head over to YouTube or Facebook. The video is, the quality is a lot better over there, and you can hear the other half of the conversation. Hopefully that was a good one. Spoon Monkey is asking, how did I like? Yeah. Oh yeah, double fed did that. Those so the double fed is mentioning the Masutanis. His knives make the perfect gift. They're you must have one of those handy. You've got everything closer than I do. So they're VG10. They're forged by hand. They're $138 with a nearly indestructible Paca handle. I'm a big fan. Very, very light. If it's for like, if it's for someone who swears up and down that they need a heavy knife, that might not be the one for them, but they're gorgeous and a really good price.
And they're not hand forged. But if you can go to their Instagram channel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's called Matsutani Hamono.
Okay.
And you can see all the processes that go into making what we call a factory-made knife. Mm. And you realize it's just a ton of handmade processes. The only difference is they don't have the hammering process at the beginning. That's it.
Okay.
And I'm eating black licorice, sorry.
That's fun. That's fine. Oh, Happy Daisy Gourmet Dog Food was looking at the Doi. Well,
that's not a dog food knife.
No, they're carbon. So I have. Do I have a Kengata? I don't have one. I thought I had one. You might want to like they're a little heftier across the spine, but a really hard steel. You might want to be careful. That you're not gonna twist it or chip it or anything like that. And Spoon Monkey, first, how did you like chili snow? I haven't gotten to that yet. I'm still.
Tell us what chili snow is again. I think this is really smart.
Yeah, so chili snow, I learned about chili snow last week. It is not cocaine like I thought it was. In fact, you take a chili and you put it in the freezer, and then when it is frozen, you take it on like your microplane or a very fine grater, and then you get like a little powdery. The really powdery kind of pasty stuff.
Powder. Like snow, like chili snow. Hey, listen, like someone from Melbourne, Australia called Joanne Pickett. Yeah, someone called Joanne. Joanne Pickett said, "Is this Knifewear in Calgary? Because I would like to shout out to my daughter Ellie who works there."
Oh, wonderful. And there's someone on Instagram is saying.
I'm looking at her right now. She's hiding. She's trying to crawl in between boxes and hide.
The Tojiro. Do we have any of the Tojiro briefcases anymore? Do we have any of those anywhere?
No, Joe. Do we have any Tojiro briefcases left? We don't. And
no, I guess we're all.
That's what gave me they're not making them anymore. Face also.
Yeah, apparently they aren't making them anymore. So I don't think that we'd be able to get that for you. Sorry about that.
All right. So we got all kinds of weird stuff going on here. All kinds of stuff going on here.
Yeah. What about Rick's?
What's the average cost of shipping to the UK for a single blade? Ellie. 35 Canadian dollars. Spoon Monkey. There we go. I was looking at the dog. I mean the Doi. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Don't go after the dog with the Doi. Make the dog dog food, or make it cat food. I'm ready for my second Japanese knife. Do you have an idea when this will be available? Masakagi Koishi Gyuto 210. Ellie, you might know. When will that be available?
If you send an email, sorry, Kevin, there's just over on Instagram here. If you send an email to hello@knifewear.com, we can look into that a little bit better for you. I don't know off the top of my head. I don't really do any of the ordering. So just like some individual things that come into our shop here. So
What's somebody on Instagram looking for?
those like something similar to those Tojiro like lockable briefcases. Yeah. So send an email over to hello@knifewear.com and we can take a little bit of a look around. I'll be completely honest with you, my brain is fried today and I will probably not remember that you've asked that by the end of the afternoon.
All right, Mr. Lord.
Yes, sir.
We got things on the go here. Masakagi Koishi 210 Gyuto is the #1 selling knife at Knifewear and has been for about 6 or 7 years now. We can't get enough of them. They simply don't make enough of this knife for us. If you want one, the trick is either look into something else that's very similar, which can be quite helpful, like what Chris Laurie is holding there, or if that's the one you want, and I get that, I totally get it, what you want to do is put your name on the list. So every knife at Knifewear that's on our website, if it's out of stock, there's a little button there that says contact me when it's available or something along that line. Click that, put your name on it. And honestly, hot sellers like Tinker Tank, like any of the Shigafusa knives, like any Hinura knife, like the 210 Masakagi Koishi, put your name on that list. As soon as you get the email, buy it. Because what generally happens with that knife is it doesn't actually leave the warehouse and go to the stores, because we have such a huge list of contact when it's ready that the emails go out and they're bought within the day. There should be more coming in within the next 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. But get on that list, and if you get an email, buy it. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. That's the best advice I can give you. Rick's Rock. I like that name.
Yeah, so Rick, the one that I was holding on to here is the Haruyuki Shiso. So it's the same type of steels. It's the Aogami Super, so super blue carbon with a stainless steel jacket. And while it doesn't have like the Tsuchime in it, it's not as round as on the Koishi. It does have a nice textured hammered appearance with some Karochi on there too. So it's got the octagonal handle as well. There's just subtle differences. I gotta start coughing.
Don't do that.
I need a glass of water or something. I've been like.
I'm drinking a Coke today. Look at this. How was that?
That's very weird. Yeah.
Have you ever seen me drink one of these?
Only once, and we were both incredibly hungover, and we shared one.
That's a weird thing to do. Can't do that anymore, can we?
No. So, John, you went and said Tinker Tank, so now people are asking about that. Those are the same thing. You know what? The thing about the Tinker Tank
are impossible. They're impossible to get. So, which means that get on the waiting list. If you get an email, buy it that second. Like, stop your car, pull over, buy the knife.
Yeah, don't wait.
They last 15 minutes when they arrive. Tinker Tanks arrive, and within 15 or even an hour, they are all sold out. Like the box, like we still haven't broken down the case that it came in, like the box that it came in before they're all sold. Yeah, like it's that crazy.
And it's kind of like, because the way they do it too is like they don't, like Shiba makes them, like Shiba and Ikeda make them when they want to. They don't want to like they know what they're doing. Like it's
it's also a thing that Ikeda does after work, right? So he finishes all of his work, and then in the evening he's like, okay, let's make some tanks. And nobody wants to work an extra 3 hours or 2 hours every day, right? Yeah. So he does not do it often.
Yeah.
Someone said, is there lots of petties in stock still? Yeah. Go to if you're looking for a garage sale petty, go to the garage sale section and press the petty button, and you'll see what that is. Colin Hofflemere says, I can think of 5 Kurosaki finishes off the top of my head, but there's probably more. Absolutely.
Well, look, there's, let's see if I can get 5. There's we'll say the Masakage Shimo, and then he has the Raijin and the Fujin and the Shizuku and the Senko is the big one. Sasame. I can't get more than 6. There's probably more though. He's always doing
he
himself.
He also has some experiments too, right?
Yeah, well, which is a good time to mention. Everest had a question there about what's the culture like between the old guard of blacksmiths that tend to do more traditional tool-like knives and the young guys that try crazy new non-traditional things, like weird shapes and Western handles.
Well,
are they not fans, or do they generally supportive?
Yes and yes.
Yeah.
Yes and yes. Depends who it is. Depends who you're talking about, right? Like anybody, right? Mostly, to be honest, the old guys that are retiring are really happy that the young guys are taking up the sport. I was going to say the game, the sport.
Yeah.
The career, right?
Yeah.
They're mostly happy that it's still going to continue living on. One thing I can say is that I wrote this book that used to be around here somewhere called
my computer's propped up on a pile of them.
Called something. What's it called?
The Knife Nerd Guide to Japanese Knives.
Kitchen Knives.
It's just Japanese knives.
It's called Japanese Knives, written by some guy. But in that book, we need to do a new. So I'm starting to write the 2nd edition next, like now, I guess. January, I'm going to start writing that because we're adding about 6 new blacksmiths. We're adding Shibata-san wants to write a foreword, and I wanted to ask Andrew-san to write a bit about passing the torch on to Ikeda-san, passing the torch to the next generation, because I thought that would be super interesting to really get his take on it. And then it's also good to make Naoto do all the editing and translation. Yes. He likes that. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's a good time to mention too, like how kind of Takafu Knife Village came to be, right? Like you talk about that in Springhammer.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of like that's Andrew-san setting it up so we can pass it on.
You know, Andrew, Kato, Saji, these guys were all in at the beginning. It was 28 craftsmen, I think it was. Naoto's here, he's not corrected me, so it must be right. And they got 10, it's 10 craftsmen. He is correcting me now because he's listening. Thank you, Naoto. I don't know where I got the number 28 from. Anyway, I'm tired. There was 10 craftsmen, they started it, and they got some government money, and they put in some money. They built a big modern facility to get young people into blacksmithing because they realized that we're a bunch of cranky old men working in our garages and nobody wants to come work with us. So they did that to recruit the next generations and to keep training them so that they would continue this lineage in the area. And it's worked great. So it's like you said yesterday, it's mustn't be rude, my friend.
One mustn't be rude. I saw Iggy must have asked something earlier and I missed it. Sorry, like we're not, if we miss your questions, please don't get too frustrated with us because it's just the two of us kind of cruising through YouTube comments, trying to catch them as they come in. So.
Some people get really emotional about it. You shouldn't get so emotional. Nobody's picking on you. We're just maybe sometimes didn't see the question.
Iggy, I would, I like a Moritaka 240. I already own one. 210 is worth it. I might have a 210 handy. I can grab one to show you. And then Hodorific is asking, what happens to their place on the waiting list if they get the email and don't make the sale on time? That might be a good question for Ellie if she can.
It stays where it is. You don't lose your spot. Okay. You don't lose your spot. So it's a ranked email list, and then the first. I'll explain it again how this works. This is my understanding of it. If there's 4 knives come in, let's say 4 tanks come in, 15 emails go out, and then they wait 15 minutes. If the 4 tanks, if there still aren't all purchased, like maybe there's still 2 left, 15 more emails go out, and then more and more and more. But you keep your position in line whether you buy it or not.
You get like 3 to 4 hours. 4 or 5 hours. That's time.
Oh, Ellie says you get 3 hours between the chunks going out.
Oh, that's much more generous than what we've always presumed.
Yeah.
Once you're off the list, you have to go back to the front.
Oh, okay. So she corrected. Okay, so we've been lying to you entirely. The emails go out. There's about 3 hours window. And if there still is some left after that, the next ones go out. The next batch of emails go out. And if you get an email you don't buy, you have to get back on the list. So there you go. I lied to you just a second ago. So I'm so horrific. I'm so glad you asked. And I'm so glad you told me the truth, Ellie. That's good to know. Yeah. I lied to people today earlier, just seconds ago.
It's an imperfect system.
It's not a perfect system. She didn't invent it. It's just a program we use.
I could go knock on Shopify's door and give them a hard go. That's what I'll do. Boop, boop. I grabbed this knife to show Iggy.
I'm not throwing Sheba under the bus.
No, Sheba's got nothing to do with it. So I grabbed that to show Iggy, because Iggy's got a couple of Moritaka Ishime's, but I've got an Aogami Super 210 in my hand, which could be a lot of fun. So, oh, and Trevor,
you showed a budget Tojiro Chinese cleaver yesterday for $73. Is that safe to cut through bones? It absolutely is not a bone cleaver. Absolutely, it's a cabbage cleaver. So think vegetables, cabbage. Think like a big neck, Kiri. It's absolutely not a bone cleaver. In fact, most bone cleavers aren't safe for cutting through bones bigger than chicken bones.
Nope.
Or lamb ribs. Anything bigger than a lamb rib is off limits anyway. Yeah, you don't use a cleaver to go through a bone. You use a cleaver to go between a bone, like through the joints. Like if I was two pieces of meat here, you would go through my elbow. You wouldn't go through the bone there, right? Some people get excited and they take their cleaver and just try to hack a cow femur, but it's not really how you do things.
I broke a knife that way one time. I got real pissed off trying to split a bone in half to get the marrow out of it.
Well, use a hammer for that.
Yeah, I know better now. Kevin, do you have a Kato Black Damascus Gyuto over there? I don't have anything.
I totally do. I got it in my hand. I've even got one at my house, as you know.
Nice.
Look at that. Those are just. I was one of the first to buy one of these. He wasn't making 240s at the time, but I just put in a special order for myself because I really like these. Is that what you wanted to see?
I think so. Maybe it might be one of the Western handled ones. I've got one of the Western VG10 ones here too. It's Brian's trying to convince his buddy that he needs this.
Everybody needs that. Brian, your friend totally needs it. He deserves it, man.
Yeah. Do you have the scale still handy, Kevin? If you're wondering, someone's wondering how much that one weighs.
I've got a scale right here in front of me.
Wow, Dr. G asked a question that's far too smart for me.
Okay, do you want to know the weight? It's 139 grams on that knife.
For a 210. Wow, that's nothing.
Naoto, are you here? Oh. Listen, Dr. G has asked a question, and Naoto's the man to talk to about it. So Naoto's just on the phone right now with somebody, probably in Japan. And, maybe not, it's a bit early. And he'll be here soon enough to answer this question about austenite.
I'm interested to hear what this means, because I don't know if you can tell by the look at me, but I don't know too much about those hard words.
Just wanted to say thank you to the guys for all your help. I bought a Munetoshi Gyuto 210. Cool. Fun. And eagerly expecting it. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a really cool little blade. So you're going to enjoy that. So you're welcome. And thanks for the support. Mount Everest, who's a really tall person, said, cool, I appreciate the stories. The history is super neat. Kevin, if you need people to proofread an early copy, let me know. You know what? I just secured my editor for the next copy, my next edition. And she brought me a bottle of Japanese whiskey to celebrate, which was great.
Oh, I drank some Japanese whiskey yesterday.
Your Japanese whiskey is way nicer than the one she brought. She brought one called Sunday Whiskey. Oh, that Hibiki whiskey, yours is delicious, man.
It is tasty.
That's like super delicious.
I haven't been drinking much lately, so I've been kind of I forgot we even had it downstairs, and Sean came up and midway through like yesterday, like first day of garage sales it's always a nut house. You know, you've got one person running around grabbing orders for the website, and you got, you know, another three helping customers out. And I was there playing like air traffic controller at the door, like one in, one out. What you on the hunt for? You dropping off sharpening? Hey, like it was crazy. And so by the end of the day, Sean's like, "Look what I found in the basement." I was like, "Well, I guess we're gonna have to drink that today." So we all had a good one. It was nice. I like whiskey a little too much.
Yeah, well, I've seen what you think is a heel of whiskey. About that much in a bottle. He thinks that's just a heel, just a heel. About like 9 big mouthfuls. Yeah, Matt Everest says you can't go to Spotify and knock on their door anymore because everybody's working at home, so you'll have to go to someone's house, which amuses me. Those AS Moore Takis with the walnut handle look so good in person, says John May. And agreed. I think that walnut handle is a winner. I think it's overlooked as a cool handle. I think
I really like the ones.
More of them, and I like the shape of it too.
Yeah, it's like an elongated octagon.
Yeah, it's a bit more boxy. It reminds me of a 1980s BMW motorcycle. If that makes any sense.
So this is like the one that we're all kind of used to, and then that is like the newer ones.
Yeah, a little bit different shape, hey?
Yeah.
Iggy says, "Thanks, Lordy. You've developed a great ability to spend my money."
You know what, Iggy? I have spent so much of my own money that I need some of yours to spend for you. I don't actually need the things that we spend the money on.
Damon Spector. Damon or Demon? Let us know how to pronounce your name properly. Damon or Demon? He says, "I came in and we're talking about chopping Kevin's arm and femur off. That's intense." Are there any younger blacksmiths using cryo treatments to reduce retained austenite in their knives? I think the answer is no. As soon as Nelda gets off the phone here, we'll ask him. He knows. He knows, man. Greg Stevenson says we're a bit light on the dad jokes today, so I'm glad you brought that up because somebody has stolen my dad joke book. They've taken it from me.
Mike had it for a little bit yesterday.
They took it from me?
But Mike was reading from it.
I know he was. I actually had it in my hand. I had it in my hand recently. I think somebody's nicked it. Ellie has stolen it.
Oh, Gabe, here's a good one, Kevin. We got a good one on Facebook. I use a ceramic sharpener.
I'm having a panic. I've got a problem. My dad joke book is gone.
Okay, well, I'm going to answer this question.
Listen, Chris.
Gabriel is asking, use a ceramic sharpener for his Kurosaki. Not good at using it. Is there a better sharpener I could buy for home use? Luckily, Gabriel, I know somebody who lives very close to you. You can give it a quick little tune-up. It's a certain Gabriel. No, but what we can do, it's the thing about the ceramic honing rods is that they do take a lot of practice. All right, like you don't want to use, see, the thing about Japanese knives is you really don't want to sharpen them on anything other than water stones. A lot of those little gizmos and whatnot are very tempting because you can rip a pretty coarse edge on a knife very quickly, but over time it is going to damage your knife. So if you're having trouble with a ceramic honing rod, you should check out we have a YouTube video, because not everybody here. Gabriel is, he's my father-in-law. So if I were to swing by, I could just show him, but I can't do that for all of you. But Owen has made a very good YouTube video. It's on the website. You could, if you're watching on YouTube, you could find it. If you go to the website and just look up honing rods, you'll find it on there too. And
cool.
It just takes practice. And it is, it is frustrating. It is intimidating in the beginning, but take your time. That's really the best advice I can give a person.
Listen, Greg Stevenson, frankly, he says, I shouldn't be making dad jokes since I have no children. I'm a faux pa. There you go.
That's pretty good.
And someone else says, when Don Penny was a child, was he known as Don Petty? Don Penny. Actually, this is actually good to see. Don Penny's over there watching on Facebook, and it's probably important to note. It's probably important to note about Don Penny that it turns out that he didn't. I remember I said he was bit by a shark. What I meant was he bit a shark. and the shark
Okay.
is. So that was a mistake on my part there.
I heard that the first ferry out of Port aux Basques was actually Don Penny pulling a boat while swimming.
Really?
That's how you used to have to get on and off of Newfoundland. Was Don Penny would pull a boat while swimming.
Yeah, with his teeth, right? They put like the.
Well, he would tie it into his beard. Don's got quite a long beard, so he would tie the tether onto his beard.
Don Penny's quite a man.
He is.
And he's got a very hairy chest. He's a very manly man.
Yeah.
Listen, John May says, I got a question about a subas. Would you generally recommend people get a nikiri for most vegetable use rather than a suba? Is there a good choice, or is the nikiri more user-friendly? A nikiri is more user-friendly, but man, just get two.
Yeah, get one of
the
each.
Suba is going to be great for lots of things like sasagaki cuts, or like rotary cuts when you like take out with a daikon and like keep peeling it, so it's just like a razor, just like a thin piece of paper, that sort of thing. So they're both good for different things. I say use a nikiri, get used to it, and when it's time for a new knife, get in a suba, because then you've got something fun to do, right? Dave Inspector says, John, I was all set to pull the trigger on one of the Mortakas, but unfortunately I had to call a gas guy to the house instead.
Oh, lame.
I don't know if that's a dad joke or just a sad story.
That sounds sad to me.
Sounds like a sad story. Anything new coming for the garage sale? Listen, some new things just arrived just now for the garage sale. We've got the Tojiro Omuro is on there now, and it's these Paka wood handles. And then we also have just added on, they're probably live now, is Tojiro Home knives. We have, I think it's 6 of the Santoku and 6 of the 160 mil petty, but they're half price because they have, if you can see, tiny cracks, like hair cracks in the top of the handle there. Like this one. Oh, you can see it. There's a couple of tiny little hair cracks. Because of that, we're doing them for half price. So I think they're $70 and $75, usually $140, $150. So there you go.
Don's got a pretty good idea.
The Oboro just arrived.
Don says that the Oboro would make a beautiful steak knife.
Oh, get 6 of these for a steak knife? That's really smart, actually. I could go for that. So those have just arrived. I know that we got a bunch of weird things in today. If you have an order of a charcoal chimney and a Conroe grill that you're waiting for us to ship, chances are it's shipped today. Because we've got all the Conroes in now, almost all
the ones that are accounted for.
All the ones that are going to come in are coming in, and we finally got the chimney. So we sent a ton of Conroes out today. It looked like we sent about 40 of them out.
Amazing.
So there you go. That's good. What is the name and price of the big, awesome Gyuto that you show? I can't find it on the website. Sultan, I think you're talking about this bad boy here, right? That big bad boy? I'm taking one of these home today. What is it? Oh my goodness. Chris,
Sakai Kikumori.
Sakai Kikumori, thank you.
Aogami Nishiji.
Kikumori. And I'll see if I can find the link. And
I can look for it if you want.
Okay.
I'm halfway there.
All right. And what is the price of it? The price is $4.19, small Canadian dollars. Oh, Damon Spector is Damon, because Nathan, Nathan likes all his rock metal and stuff. He was calling him Demon. I was like, no, I think it's Damon.
Yeah.
So his name's Damon. Nathan Garrow was wrong. Thank you for correcting us, buddy. I appreciate that. Which style of knife for carving brisket or smoked meats? And any still in stock from the sale? Sean, I have you covered. Oh, and you asked later about a Tojiro flash carving in 210 mil, a brisket cutter. 210 mil is far too short for a brisket cutter.
Yeah.
You need a longer slicer. You need this guy. For 969 small dollars, you need this Saji R2 and ironwood contoured handle. And
I
this
read-
is a brisket slayer, man.
What's that? Yours is a 300? Is that what you said?
300, yeah.
Yeah. I grabbed
think
a
it is.
270 Mugen.
Oh, that'd be a good one too.
Yeah, I wouldn't go smaller than a 270, but if you could get a 300, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Briskets are big friggers, right? Like the brisket's like going to be that. Like this scale might not work at all, but a brisket, like a cooked brisket's that big, right? So you want to make sure your knife is longer than the thing you're cutting. So.
Don Penny says, I've certainly been called Petty many times.
Oh,
So maybe
wow.
I'm just going to call you Don Petty now. Don Petty, AJ has a question for you, Don, or possibly for Chris. Have you ever used the Edge Pro sharpening system? I can tell you, I have never used the Edge Pro sharpening system. I've only ever used a honing rod, a strop, and water stones, and this. Lots of that. Have you ever used one of those gadgets?
No, I haven't. I remember when I first when I was still cooking, one of the big moves that everyone was like, you know, you'd buy a Mac knife and they'd sell you one of those Fisker rolling sharpeners. That was the big thing here in Ottawa for a really long time. I eventually learned how to sharpen on stones, but I've been curious about those things. I see a lot of ads for them, for like when they set up the angles and everything like that. Like it makes sense to me. But it would have to do with like the quality of the abrasive would be my big concern. You know, like I really like using the stones that we have in the store. I don't know.
Listen, Sean says, I was just reminiscing about the beautiful herb garden I had when I was growing up. Good times.
Oh my. I'm going to say, Thomas has asked a question on Facebook a couple minutes ago. All the crazy looking bunkas were sold before I had a chance to grab one. Sad face. Is there any chance of any more coming in before the end of the garage sale or in store?
I have got a crazy
at
bunka in my hand.
Okay, so Kevin will show you a crazy bunka, Thomas. Hopefully you're still there.
I actually have a crazy bunka in my hand, Thomas.
Okay, so let's look at it.
We have one left. It's Kurosaki. Oh, sorry, it's Of course it is. I knew that too. My brain's tired. This is Kato-san, so you see the pattern, right?
Yeah.
SG2 powder steel, and
Look
it's
at the
got
handle.
cedar. This is like a contoured cedar handle. Maybe smell it. It smells like cedar, which is really weird.
Wow.
But there you go. So that one we still have, and it's 756 small Canadian dollars. So
That's
there we go.
nothing.
We still got one crazy bunka left. It's in my hand. Also, actually, Naoto's going to come and talk about this anyway, because Naoto has to answer the question about austenite.
Cool.
Naoto, somebody asked, Dr. G asked if any young blacksmiths are using cryo something for austenite in.
Yeah.
Okay, so come over here. I'm going to put a few things in front of you as well that you have to talk about. But they want to talk about retained austenite.
Yeah.
Hi,
So,
Naoto.
hey, how's it going? When you harden the steel, it will make the from austenite to martensite, but not 100% of the steel will be transformed into the structure of martensite. Regular actually quenching will cause about 20 to 30% of the so-called retained austenite left in the blade. What it does is that it doesn't get as hard as it should be. So in order to prevent that, some knife makers use this technique called sub-zero treatment. Basically, it's after you quench the water or oil, whatever, they basically have one guy I know uses liquid nitrogen to treat them into the sub-zero temperature. The guy who does the sub-zero for sure.
Those are all for you too.
Yeah, sub-zero for sure that I know is Manaka for the ATS 34 knives.
I'll grab one of those. I have those handy.
Yeah. So
Oh, you have one too. Okay.
Manaka-san does the sub-zero heat treatment. His
Okay.
workshop is so small, but he's like, yeah, it's small, but basically I get the liquid nitrogen poured into the drum, and he just like does that.
So he'll take it right out of the fire and then into the liquid
No,
nitrogen.
it's the quench then liquid nitrogen.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, so that's the guy that I know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, not so many people do that. But
Would you say that must be a pretty kind of modern idea? Eh?
Yeah.
Like that would, yeah.
facility, the bigger knife makers, they do that kind of treatment, right? They
Okay.
not just the blacksmithing, but
Yeah.
yeah. So they do that. But as
That's
far as the
cool.
blacksmithing goes, he does that. Yeah, sub-zero treatment. Yeah. So someone, Kevin, handed over me lots of knives like right in front of me, including the those engraved knives. I will go over those engraved knives later. But crazy bunkas, the this cedar one, we actually have to make it available. We somehow hit it, so we have to make this
Oh no.
online.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm surprised that would still be around.
So we have to just wink Ellie and make this happen. We do have crazy bunkas like a this all Sakai made with the Ginsan stainless.
Cool. Well, I like Ginsan quite a bit.
Ginsan's really great steel. It takes such good good edge by forging it. Forging is done by the this guy Yamatsuka-san. Remember that the I don't know, Chris, if you remember, but we had the Konosuke. It's available online. Was it? Okay, good. It seems like it is available online. Yoshimi Kato, SG2, cedar handle, Weston. Yeah. Then there's the cedar handle option there. Anyways, I don't know if you, Chris, remember the when we had Konosuke knives and the first batch of Sakura, the cherry blossom knives, was Ginsan stainless steel.
Oh, okay, yeah. I remember. We had some of them when I first started. I think we got like another shit because they eventually went to VG10, didn't they?
They transform it from the Ginsan, AUSA, and the VG10.
Oh, okay.
But the Ginsan, the Ginsan stainless steel, the first batch of the Sakura knives are forged by the same guy who forged this. It's a Yamatsuka-san who does the this forging. Sharpening is done by their resident sharpener. He is relatively young, but he does such great actually job on the thinning and everything. It's really good. This bunka 381. It's really well made.
It looks really like the fit and finish looks really nice on that.
Yeah, and a cherry handle on that. I've got another one that's really.
It's all one piece. Like, is there like a different collar on it, or is it all cherry?
This is all one cherry. This does start to become a like little trendy in Japan. I think just one piece. Like
I've seen a few of them. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like this one, right?
Yeah.
This one here, Miyazaki-san, again, relatively young blacksmith. He is young, but he was trained under the pretty famed blacksmith in Hakata, and so this shape is called Hakata Bocho. Or you probably have seen this shape before.
I have,
bunka, but it has a little bit taller here, and it goes kind of sweep up a little bit.
Yeah.
This one here is made out of the blue number 2 carbon steel and wrought iron on the outside.
Okay.
So it has actually not very natural Damascus look to it. If you look very close, our picture quality is not great, but if you actually look very close, you can see nice, like natural.
Oh,
Damascus
cool. Yeah, like
feel.
little like pockets and stuff.
Yeah. And it comes with the handwritten note of him, that this handle is the Tsubaki. He is from this islands of Goto. Tsubaki is the camellia.
Okay.
That use the blade oil, right?
Mhm.
It's a really famous place for oil, camellia oil producing, and this is camellia handle.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's a kind of cool piece to bunkas. Things that we first time getting is the Garasuki, the Honosuki from Sakai Takayuki, single bevel.
Sean is asking there about. There's a couple of good questions in the comments here.
Yeah.
We've got someone is asking about. Let me see. About the Sakai Takayuki Michiko Deba 240. If we still have any of that.
Yeah, all of these are still, I believe, available. I have to double check.
Okay.
We have
Frederico is asking, what do you think about the Saji VG10 bone handle series?
Oh, that one. It's great. I don't think we have them here. Little bit thicker handle. His bone handles are a little bit thick, but so it's like for those who has a little bit bigger hands, that's fantastic. For me, it may be a little bit more chunky and awkward because I have the small hand. And it's got the VG10 Damascus with the acid etched feel look to it. So it's pretty cool. Anyways,
there's just someone asking to see a knife on Instagram here. Yeah, it's thinner. If you're careful, you could use this to cut turnips and squash. I use all kinds of thin knives to cut turnips and squash, but if you're going to be rough on it, this is a pretty thin knife, so I might not use that for that particular thing. What else have you got? I want to make sure we're not skipping over anyone too bad. Razim is asking, I picked up the Shirogami Karochi Bunka. Pretty stoked. Curious why it's only 117. Seems like a crazy deal.
That Karochi Bunka, I don't know if you have them here. It's really.
No, we sold that. We shipped all ours out this morning.
Yeah, it's just really how much the work goes into it. It's a forging process is the same, but from there, how they polish, how to sharpen them, and everything kind of determines the price. So it's a little bit more rougher finish, I guess. It doesn't have any polish or anything like that. Kurochi comes from the natural quenched steel, so it just sit there, right? So
yeah, no, they're a great. They're always a good value. We always get try to get a pile of them for a garage sale. But yeah, they take a little bit more care too, though. That's the big thing. You know, like the carbon steel is not going to be it's not invincible. You got to make sure you're washing it off and drying it and doing a good job.
Yeah.
Here's two questions about metal, Naoto. Damon is asking, how does the Sakai Ginsan compare to a Shiba knife? How much do we like maybe if you had to, is there like a Masakage knife or a knife from Shibata-san that we would compare that Sakai Ginsan to? And then Hodorific is asking, what are the team's favorite steel? All are good in their own respect, and there's always carbon versus stainless. But what's our personal favorites?
So let's start from the this Ginsan to the Shibas. Well, I would assume the Shibas is the Kotetsu, the R2, right?
Okay.
Shiba Kotetsu R2 is definitely, if you compare Ginsan to SG2 R2 high-speed powder steel will have a little bit more silkier, smoother edge, as well as the longer edge retention due to its hardness. The Sakai blacksmith, especially Yamatsuka-san, loves this steel because it's like Masashi-san. Blacksmith likes to use the Ginsan because its responsiveness, I guess. When you forge them, you're making that the particle smaller and not kind of part of sense. You basically, by forging it, you're making the steel or the knife better. It's not, you're not just the forging into the shape. You're making actually the so that's the Ginsan definitely has that that kind of aspect. You know, like as you hammer, as you forge by those spring hammers or the heat, instead of rolling it out, those guys are better than say factory forged knives. Where R2 are like one of those steels that's perfected in the steel making factory, right? So the they are fantastic steel. They probably outperforms the Ginsan in terms of the retention and everything. But blacksmith, from the blacksmith standpoint, it's like it doesn't make that much of difference, even if you making it work. It makes a tiny bit difference, but it's not that big. So that's really the big difference.
In a comparison that might not make a lot of sense to you, Naoto.
Mhm.
In Rocky 4,
Mhm.
you've got Ivan Drago, the Russian boxer, was kind of like made in a lab. You know, like he had all the super fancy equipment. There was no way he couldn't win. And then you had Rocky, who trained using farm equipment and had to work really hard for it.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's
That's good. Yeah, good analysis. I think.
I don't know if you've seen Rocky 4.
But
sometimes
I can tell the I can get that the
sometimes I bring up movies that Naoto doesn't know what I'm talking about. So
it cuts very similar. The thinness is really nice. Shiba one has the little bit more nicer smooth taper, where this one has the so-called Kiriha, Shinogi, and that. But it both cuts fantastic. What was the other question?
What's your favorite steel?
Yeah, steel.
Yeah,
like what's your favorite, Chris?
I have two. I really like Algami Super. A lot of my knives are made with Algami Super. I also really like. I bought a Yokuma a couple years ago, and it's made with the SRS 15, and I really, really like it. I haven't had to sharpen it very much, and I have two Kotetsus. They're made out of the R2, the SG2. I have two of those, but there's something about the SRS 15 that I like more, and that's from a usage standpoint. I don't see the big thing is like I don't know the steels as intimately as Naoto does. I don't sharpen as much as Naoto does. So his answers might be skewed a little bit differently than mine. So my answers generally come from a usage standpoint. I like how easy the powdered steel is to take care of and how long it's kept its edge. Now, I like Algami Super. I would say more of my knives are made with Algami Super, like my Denka, my Koishi. I've got a couple like Moritaka Algami Super. Like I've got I own more of the Algami Super, but a few years ago, I kind of had to shift the types of knives I was buying because when I moved in with my girlfriend, she has two children. Like I've got 3 kids now. So when my time spent in the kitchen, I can't always get my cleaning done that fast. So
Great.
Yeah. No, Rick Rags, this is a D&D shirt. This is all about it's from a company called Death Saves, and it's all the images from the old Tomb of Horror Gary Gygax adventure. There's all kinds of. If the Rocky 4 didn't give it away, I'm kind of a nerd. So, what about you? What's your kind of favorite there?
For the cutting edge and sharpening, all in all, I love the white carbon steel with the stainless clad. It's the edges. It holds the edge very nice and long. It takes very nice edge, pretty easy and fast. And from the repair, I do lots of repairs these days.
Yeah.
And when I did the side by side, like on like I was actually working on the Yuki and Koichi at the same time, about same size of chip. That's when I realized, I'm like, oh my god, Aogami Super is great steel for use because it has such the wear resistance, but wear resistance also means it does not be ground by the sharpening stones. And
Yeah.
I had to spend about same chunk missing from the edge. I had to spend probably three more times than
Yeah.
like longer than that they fixing at the Yuki. And I'm like, yeah, like I like the sharp, like I like the usage, and I like the um, longevity of the edge part of it. But also, I do respect the skills and of the blacksmith and knife makers. White carbon steel, the purer the steel is, it is more difficult to perfect them.
Yeah.
Right? So I do love that so the one that I like is this guy here. Another all knife. I'm sucker for this one. This guy here, all white carbon #1 with stainless clad. It's the Sakai. Yeah. So it's the same company as the.
I don't know if do I don't have those, do I? I
Oh,
don't think I have
it
those.
just came in the last minute. So we
Oh,
couldn't
okay.
ship these out. But yeah, fantastic, super thin stainless clad knives from the Sakai was non-existent until very recently, because Sakai people are very traditional. They either go all the way carbon steel, or some people like a Yamatsuka-san who goes like Ginsan, right? So that was
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
But this company convinced or tricked the Tanaka-san, who's the blacksmith of this knife, into this. Hey, Tanaka-san, there's this super cool material. The core is still carbon, and he only works with the carbon steel. But this company gonna trick him into making that the stainless glass. Hey,
Yeah.
super cool, and he actually now likes it.
What about cobalt? I'm just looking through. I got two more steel questions.
Mm-hmm.
We've got, what is it in stainless steel that helps with a smoother edge? And can you talk about Cobalt Special and its pros and cons?
So, what is it that makes the smoother edge is the size of particles as well as the size of carbides. But carbides are very nerdy. Basically, what happens is that the carbon and the chromium or other elements get together and makes this a carbides. It's like chocolate chips on a chocolate chip cookie. So you have the fundamental, the base here, and you have those chunks. Those are carbides. What it makes it really so those carbides can actually become a edge or the teeth. So it's good. But in order to get a little bit more smoother edge, powder steels are great. So basically, what happens is that they mix those elements nice and even, mix them, and they put the super in the high pressure and they spray them, and they basically vaporize them and and then press it down. So it's like like pill making.
Yeah.
Right.
Impress it. Yeah.
So each particles are a little bit more even. They try to prevent the enlarge the carbide sizes and stuff. So you get a little bit smoother finish. Cobalt Special, really the big thing about Cobalt Special I find is that again Cobalt I have to double check. Cobalt Special has more chromium than than other steel like VG10 or the other typical stainless steel. So it's much more stain resistant. And also it makes it a little bit easier to heat treat. The chromium makes it actually easy to heat treat.
Oh,
Also,
okay.
yeah, and it's a little bit more evener matrix, or so it creates, but it's not powder steel.
Oh, okay.
So it's not powder steel. It's the same line as the VG10. It's like, so there's like ingot steel, right? They melt together, and pour into it, and there's the powder steel. It's more like the regular type steel making.
I bet you he wasn't expecting that. um, we've got, what have I got here? Those were good. That was really, that's hard for me. My brain's melted today now, so I'm very sleepy.
There's a question that I see. I don't know if I'm skipping too much, or it says the
No.
AJ is asking the today. Oh no, that's ASA. Today question.
Well, you find it one of those, because I'll answer a couple quick ones here. Troy is asking about sharpening different blades on the same stones, or even an axe on the same stones as my knives. Is that a bad idea? Only if you're really rough on your stones. Make sure that you're using, sure you're using your truing stone, using your Nagura stones, keeping your stones in good shape. There's no reason why you can't use your sharpening stones on more than one type of blade. You know, don't go gouging out your stone and like with an axe and then try to sharpen a straight razor. You'll be very disappointed. But if you take good care of your stones and they're not warping too much, by all means, you can use it for all kinds of stuff. And Rick is asking about how do you get better at sharpening? And it's practice. One of the best things you can do is ask everyone about ask everyone you know, or your neighbors, your mom, your dad, whoever is around, for a couple of knives to sharpen. So long as you're just dealing with, like, you know, if it's nothing that's too fancy, nothing that they're super, you know, like it's just like some Woodstops and Henkels and whatnot, practice, and you'll get better. Just remember that if you try to sharpen your mom's like Canadian Tire Special, you'll make it, it might not be perfect, but you'll make it better. And that's really the only difference. Like, how long have you been sharpening knives, Nalto?
I started working, so I've been working with the company for 9 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nalto has 9 years of full-time practice. You know, I've got 5 years of full-time practice. So it just takes practice. That's all you can do, is just do it more and more. And be critical, you know, have some tomatoes handy, sharpen them up, slice a tomato, see how it went. You can always watch the, you know, check out the, Nalto's made some really great YouTube videos. We do some live videos during the week. This week's a little bit crazy with garage sales, so the conversation is probably going to be more around funky knives than it is actual sharpening techniques. So that's the best thing you can do. Have you got one of those knives there now, Nalto?
Yeah. This is a ZA 18. It's type of newish type of stainless steel in the market right now. It's very it's just very similar. I looked at the hardness. It's very similar to the VG10 and those type of steel. Great thing about, well, it's just really the another type. It's made by the Aichi Steel, who is behind the steel like a AS8. AS10, that kind of type. It's beautiful though. It's beautifully crafted, really nice, thin, beautiful Damascus. And this Santoku is only 218, so it's like,
yeah, and it's a really gorgeous finish. So, what about truing? Rick is asking us, what are some good truing stones, Nalto? What do you like to recommend?
I use this either Atoma diamond plate to do them. It's really, when you really need the flat surface, that's really the best way to true your stones. Those plates or the diamond pads are replaceable, and so these were fantastic. We've been working with the this company called the the stone brand called Kensho, and they've come up with the this nice aluminum base that's thicker. And crazy thing about that is that this guy behind that brand, he even chews the aluminum plate before he puts that on. So.
Oh, really? He machines the plate too.
Yeah.
Oh, here's. Okay, this is Kevin. Dr. G is asking. Oh, Rick said something that I can't read. I think that's for you. Dr. G says, how does Manaka's ATS 34 compare with SG2? I own some SG2 from Kurosaki and Makoto, but Give me your best sales pitch to buy a Kisuke.
The really great thing about ADS-34, I've talked to Manaka-san. So ADS-34 stainless steel is very popular steel among the hunting knives and the pocket knives and those knives that's used like a little bit more rugged, like the roughly and like outdoors and stuff. Because usually, well, one, ATS-34 is fantastic rough, rugged steel. It does not chip as easy. It's super durable, and also they usually control hardness to a little bit lower.
Okay.
He tried to get the both best of both worlds out of it. So by him heat treating it and doing a sub-zero, and also when he temper, he controls it to actually keep the hardness up quite a bit. So he is aiming to get this ATS-34 into the Rockwell harness of 6364, which is equivalent to the R2 SD2 stainless steel.
Oh, okay.
But because of that, the potential durability standpoint that ATS-34 stainless steel has, it's got really nice hardness and longevity of the edge and the durability all around. So for the steel and how he forged and how he heat treats it, it's like fantastic steel. And a little bit of bonus, he forge welds all the stainless steel in house, which is really hard to do.
Well, one of the things I really like about his knives, and it was one of the first things you told me about that, was he's kind of got a bit of a unique geometry to the blades.
Yeah. So his knives, the thickest part of his knives is like right here at the bevel, right? So it goes like gradually tapers down, but it's got a lot of taper. Gradually tapers towards tip, but on this way, gradually tapers down and down. It's almost like diamond shape. That makes the creates a little bit of air pockets as you cut into it, right? So the food falls off a little bit easy. That the shape is very similar to the classic sword making sword shape.
Okay.
Called hishizukuri. So that's the really, and you know who else does that kind of stuff?
No, tell me.
Masashi-san.
Oh, really? Cool. I'm gonna go get one. I'm gonna look at it. I want to see.
Kuroshu has like really nice shape.
Okay, I'll grab one of those so I can see.
So that's probably.
Oh yeah, so it does.
Yeah, it does, right?
Look at that.
So Rick,
I never knew to look there.
Yes.
It helps when you've got a Naoto around.
Yeah.
I can't even read what's on the boxes. What's that mean?
What's that? The
Musashi-san. What's that mean?
Musashi-san?
No. He just
Famous,
Musashi. Sorry.
Yeah.
I thought it was a different word.
Famous samurai. Yeah.
What else do we have here?
Someone's asking if we sharpen the ZDP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you find works the best? Take your time.
The Chaucera works really well. Hard steel, hard stones works really, really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's a good excuse to get to spring for the Chauceras or the
not
Naniwa
Chaucera, the
Professional.
professional series. They just changed the name for the market outside of Japan. But that series is fantastic for really hard steels like those ones. So
Oh, that's good to know.
But takes time.
And then what else we get? Yeah, take your time. Clear your afternoon.
Yeah.
How would you compare the Knifewear stone? This is something that Naoto and Kevin talk quite a bit about on Friday afternoons. But how would you compare the Knifewear stones to the Naniwa water stones, Naoto? Do you have any secrets about that?
We work together collaboratively, basically. So those stones are produced by Naniwa. and we kind of pick and choose and the what works best for us, our purposes and uses. So that's really so. But yeah, we basically work with them, and they have several different say course grid like 220 and 1000 stuff.
Yeah.
We chose like this 220 because it's like it works fantastic. We're in the work on the another one that's like maybe the polishing stone in the near future.
Oh, really? Cool.
So that's a little
Cool.
bit more like exclusive, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna be pretty cool.
And Iceberg, what did Naoto was actually saying, I don't know if you've been around the whole time, but Shirogami is one of Naoto's favorite steels for a Gyuto. He really likes how much, I shouldn't speak for him, but how easy it is to sharpen and the way it keeps its edge. I don't think you see as much of it around, like we have a few lines here and there, like the Yuki uses Shirogami. Occasionally, Masashi-san makes a knife that uses Shirogami. The Mabaroshi does as well, but it tends to react very quickly. So you'll often see it with stainless on the outside, especially for our customers. But right now, like there is a fair bit from Sakai Kikumori with that's white carbon steel. Like I've got these guys here.
The Tanaka-san's, yeah.
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 So these are gorgeous, man. Yeah, and it's just, you know what, Shirogami takes a little bit of extra care. Like for the first, Naoto, remember when I first started, the staff before I got here didn't even order in Shimos because they were afraid of how quickly they rusted.
Right.
So it's not really that big a deal. I think they just weren't taking their time, but you need to just be aware of it because in a humid place like Ontario, like in Ottawa, like, Eastern Ontario gets very, very humid in the summertime, which was very funny when Shiba came to visit because he didn't believe me that it actually snowed when he got here in July. So that I get plus 40 and minus 40, and that didn't make sense to him. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, the humidity can be a bit of a pain in the ass. And Brian, they are Shimo. The Shimos are white number 2. So, but yeah, so it's something to be aware of.
Another thing about the white carbon steel not being used as much is that it's a little bit hard to perfect from the blacksmith standpoint. The temperature control must be really, really spot on. You have to quench in water to get the ideal hardness. But when it's quenched in the water, it has more potential of cracking it, or it's called yakiware, to have the crack inside. It's like a fault.
Okay.
For the blue carbon steel, super blue carbon steel, they add the chromium to make it easier to quench. Basically what it is that to make it easier to quench is that even the steel cools down at the slower pace, it still gets hardened, like in the proper hardening process, where white carbon steel is very finicky. You have to quench them and fast enough to get past one certain temperature really fast, and otherwise it doesn't get the proper hardness. So that's another reason why not many people are using that thing. Yes.
Oh, this is an interesting question. So, and it's maybe something that I've wondered over the last couple of years now, too. Why is it that 99% of blacksmiths don't bother with number 1 blue and number 1 white, except for the occasional, like Fujiwara uses white number 1, and Murata-san always used blue number 1.
Yeah.
Is there a reason? Like, is it just not that available, or?
Not really availability. If you look at a market like the people, consumers or the users in Japan, most people are like the same, right? Most people don't take care of their knives as good. They sometimes, cut into something hard and chips it. And blacksmith has seen so much of those and started to actually use a little bit more softer steel. For example, the Oba-san, who is we don't carry his knives, but Miyazaki-san's a master or the sensei. He only used so-called kina or the kigami or the yellow carbon steel. The reason
Oh, okay.
he
Yeah,
did
yeah, yeah.
that, because he only makes this shape of knife that's not for professionals but used in the home kitchen all the time, right? He only
Mhm.
used yellow carbon steel so that it doesn't chip, it's easy to
Okay.
sharpen, all that kind of stuff. If you
Yeah,
ask
yeah, yeah.
Mario-san, his favorite steel for kitchen knives at home is VG5, which is the equivalent
yeah.
for the molybdenum vanadium or the little bit softer. What he says is that
Mhm.
chip, it takes pretty good decent edge. It won't hold the edge as long as other steels,
Yeah.
but it's really easy to care for. So
Yeah.
I think those people have been looking those, and that's a majority, right? If you look at the
Yeah.
people using knives, that's
Yeah.
definitely one of the reasons why the white number one has not been widely used in the kitchen knife making.
Hmm. Well, it makes a lot of sense, right? Like, well, and we see it sometimes in the store too, right? When you're helping somebody pick out a knife,
Mhm.
and you see, like, we've got the cutting stations. You give them a potato, and they like
Mhm.
you don't give them a denka to
No,
try, because then you're gonna have to fix it. Like, you kind of know better, right? Like, so that's one of the big things that we do in the store is try to help you figure out what's the right knife for you,
Mhm.
right?
Exactly.
Because like, you know what, there's like very few things that are sharper than a Fujiwara Denka no Hoto, but they're more delicate, right? So if you're using it, like if you work at like a university cafeteria and you're doing huge volumes of chopping, it might not be the best knife for you, right? Because if you chip it, then it becomes real hard. Someone's got to fix it. You're going to get upset. Like, it's all about kind of maintain, like, it's a balance of
Yep, yep.
expectation and ability.
That's why we
So-
have so many different selections, different makers, different thickness, and different budget point too, right? So it's the just trying to find the best knife, I guess, for yourself rather than
Well, and that's it, right? And that's why, like, and I'm sure, like, I've Naoto and I don't get to work in the store very often, especially this year, because we don't get to work together in the store because I haven't been out to Calgary. But that's one of the things, like, when we're helping, we got them all lined up for you. It's like, look, clearly this is the one you want. So let's not, like, we don't want to look at the ones that I had before. Let's just look at the one you want. And this is how you're going to take care of the one you want. And like, this one over here is a lot harder to take care of, and you might not be up to that. Like, that's why we're here. That's our job, is to find the right one for you. It's not to find the one that I want and you should buy it for me. Like, that's crazy.
Sometimes you do that too. Sometimes I do that too. Like,
Sometimes.
everyone should buy this. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So we've all got our favorites, and
Yeah, everyone's
but
my favorite.
that's it changes. And my favorite changes all the time. So yeah, before I was all about the 240 Kuroshu, but now that those Shiroshu 240s are on sale, that's probably my new favorite.
Yeah.
That's a stupid price for those. Here's one for Greg. How delicate is the Kato SG2 Nikiri that he bought yesterday?
Obviously you don't want to cut into bones and
Yeah, frozen foods and
yeah. It is very thin. It is very
Yeah.
very thin. But
if I had to guess, the reason you would chip that knife, Greg, is probably from scraping it. That's probably the number one reason I need to fix chips. Is from
it is
board
very
scraping.
thin blade. Again, you don't want to avoid as much torsion motion and stuff like that. It will, but if you're just using it in the regular uses, just regular cutting like this, it shouldn't chip it. Only time I chipped my knife was I had this like long ago. I bought a Suda myself, and the Suda is constructed this with the tiny bit of koba on it at the end, right? So I decided to take all the kobo off and make it super fine edge, and just regular use cutting green onions on a cutting board actually
Yeah.
chip the edge on it. So that was
Naoto says you heard it here first, everyone. Naoto says he's only ever chipped one knife. I think I've chipped like all my knives. You know.
Yeah.
So I can be pretty hard on things sometimes. Oh, Sultan, you don't need to apologize for your questions. And John May, I did miss your question earlier. Could we recommend a Nikiri that is really flat, lightweight, good stainless steel, between 150 and 170 millimeter, whether it's in garage sale or otherwise? Well, what do I have handy? I don't have a ton of Nikiris in my store right now.
Pretty decent stainless steel. This one is pretty good. Tadahusa SLD.
Yeah.
SLD is really nice stainless steel. It's very nice, simple look. 195. They got really nice thin edge here. Pretty flat, although it does have slight, like enough rock to it. This particular one is fantastic. It's pretty light and thin. The Kiri, we have the very flat. If you're looking for very flat, Moritaka is fantastic. It's super flat.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Moritaka. If we had any of those Kato SG2 Nikiris, that would be good. I really like the Takafu Nikiris because they're taller, like a lot of the ones. Yeah. That's kind of, and they're 165, but they're a little bit taller.
Yeah.
That might be my recommendation. And generally they're a bit flatter too.
Yeah, so taller is like this way. So it has more clearance with the knuckle, so it's great.
Naoto, what do you use? Sultan is asking us, what do you use a Funayuki for?
Oh, Funayuki is the term. Funa or Fune. It's changed that the term, changing that the sound depends on what comes in the next. But Fune means a ship. Yuki is ship. Yeah, or boat.
Oh, okay.
And Yuki, the character is actually to go. Funayuki knife is basically was a fisherman's knife. Those fishermen brought them on the boat and used them for pretty much everything. Once they fish, they can cut the gut open and fillet them, and if they want to eat it right away, So it's not specifically a shape per se. Some regions do have different Funayuki shapes.
Yeah, because I think the one I'm most familiar with are the ones from Tosa.
Yeah. And for the Takeda calls Hitsantoku Funayuki as well, right?
That's right, yeah.
But like multi-purpose knife, that's what it entails. One does most jobs in the kitchen, and it was from that the funa, the boat or the ships. So that's what the Funayuki means. So different,
Yeah. Here we go. Oh, Mighty Michu looking to get my sister a new knife. She's used to an 8-inch Victorinox, but I want to get her something good. I have a budget around or under 150.
Ish.
Yeah, that. Oh, the one I showed earlier, Iceberg, was the ones from Tanaka-san. I'll grab a Munatoshi to show Iceberg, and I'm also
the overall. How much was that overall?
I was thinking I'm also going to grab Naoto to show Michu. I'm going to grab a Masutani 180 Gyuto to show him or her. I don't know who. And then I got the I think it was a 240. I'll show the Munatoshi 240. They do look very similar though, Iceberg. Like they've got a similar style.
slightly more. We have overall 169,
Yeah.
210, it's like 8-inch.
Yeah. So the one I was grabbing that's going to fit right into your budget is the Masutani VG10 Damascus. It's 138 bucks. It would have the handle is you know, it's nice and light. It would probably like it wouldn't scare her too much. You know, it'll feel familiar to the Victorinox. The handle's a little more slender, but very, very easy to care for and a huge step up in steel. So that would be a really good option for your sister. I like those a lot as gifts.
Yeah. So
and then
yeah.
This is the Munatoshi
Oh,
ice
yeah,
cream.
that's quite cool.
Whereas
Munatoshi is great, but it does have definitely a little bit more to care for because it's a carbon steel. Search either Tojiro, Tadafusa. Those ones are great options. The shapes like a Santoku shape may actually does fit onto your budget a little bit. For example, this particular nice micarta handle Santoku 165 mil is a 149. Another one that's the very similar on the Tadafusa Tadafusa. Tadafusa Hochokobo is pretty great option as well. So
yeah,
yeah.
Look at us. What about, do you want to talk for a second about Kobayashi-san and his SG2 knives? Mount Everest has just asked, but I believe someone else asked about that earlier. And then Don Penny is asking me on Facebook about what is the first thing he should do with his new Masakage Kiri Kobunka. I think you should go buy a box of mushrooms and chop up all the mushrooms. That would be a fun job for that. I think I might make mushroom soup tomorrow. Oh, garlic's a good one too. Yeah.
So
we'll see if I even get out of bed tomorrow.
Kobayashi-san, he has the actually a sharpening company in the town of Seki, and he's sharpened lots of knives for the also other companies, but he decided to create his own brand, showcasing what he can do with the steel that's available. So this one here, he chose the SG2 stainless steel as his go-to edge. Really, the big thing about his knives is how thin that knife is. How thin.
Mm-hmm.
When you try to cut the like super dense, big yam, you won't feel them when you cut them. It just like glides. It doesn't have any wedge. It's just like
they fly through it. Now, so what do you call those really like? There's like those weird potatoes in Japan. You ever have those like the? Yeah, no, nothing like there was one when I was there. Like I don't remember where I ate it. I think it might have been in Niigata, but there was like a really like starchy like mountain potato or something.
Oh yeah, mountain. So mountain potatoes.
Yeah, those were good.
Yeah, but any root veggies like this, fly through so nice. So that's really the biggest thing about because they are sharpening company, they focused on how it's like try to get as thin and it's still durability standpoint as well, but it's try to get as sharp as possible, I guess, right? Yeah.
Well, here we've got a couple more questions, but I'm going to take a second. We'll answer the few that we've got here, but I am gonna, we're getting close to 8 o'clock here in Ottawa.
Oh yeah, we should.
And I'm getting kind of. I'll be honest, guys. I'm tired. I got to work at like 8 o'clock today, so I'll take a second, and we're going to be doing this again on Thursday evening. I heard that Mike and Kevin are taking over for the Vancouver sharpening lesson. We're going to have a little more Japanese knife 101, and then Naoto and Kevin are doing the same thing on Friday afternoon. So you can come with your sharpening questions again. That's no problem. But we're going to have all of the garage sale stuff around us.
The end of the day, guys.
So
that's the outro.
And then Kevin hears me. And so while, if you've got a few more questions, by all means, kind of shoot them out. I'm not kicking everyone out yet, but I am starting to turn the lights on and turn the music up.
That was the
So-
outro music.
Yeah, that was but I do want to answer. There are a couple of good questions here that I don't want to ignore. So, when talking about the flatness of a Nikiri, would you say that the Yu Kurosaki Shizuku R2 Nikiri to be quite thin or flat? Definitely very, very thin. And odds are it will have a little bit of a curve at the front. A lot of the Nikiris these days too, it's really just the Moritakas have that really hard right angle. Yeah, just like what Kevin's showing you there. So there is a little bit of a belly to it, but that's not really a bad thing. It's gonna, when you go to chop, it's still flat enough that it'll get through those. You don't end up with the red pepper paper dolls and the scallion.
Yeah, but it does have
snowflakes and
this
all
much
that.
movement on it, right? So it's
Yeah.
not dead flat. It's got that much movement. The Moritakas are flat. So if you're looking for flat, go to Moritaka. If you're looking for almost flat, everybody else does that.
Yeah. And then Mathieu is asking us about getting a Kensho 6000 grit stone. I haven't actually used that one yet.
6,000?
If you want to get very nice Kasumi polish on the edge, which is the super shiny with the little smoky kind of a cladding part, that Kensho K6000 we have is fantastic.
There you go, Mathieu.
That answer?
That's a good, I hope so. Oh, Jean-Luc Martin says, who do I have to bribe to get a Fujiwara Denko with a wah handle?
They're coming.
They're coming.
They're coming.
There you go.
They didn't
Coming.
come. They didn't
They
come on
didn't come
time.
this one, but they'll be available maybe next year sometimes.
Yeah, we tried to get to this garage sale, but failed.
So
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. But they're coming.
they're coming.
We'll get them. So you don't have to bribe anybody.
We'll get them. We'll get
You
them.
just have to pay attention. Oh, Brian says he's got one on order. I don't know anything about that. I don't order anything except for shaving cream sometimes for Ken of Englewood. So. And Jean-Luc says also, I need time to get used to my new knives anyways. Yeah, you can like spread it all out. You can get a new knife every now and again. Why not? That Hanasuki you were just holding on to looked pretty cool. Kevin, who made that?
This is a Garasuki.
Garasuki. So it's a big
And it's
Hanasuki.
Sakai Takayuki. Flat on that side. Single beveled.
I'd have to learn how to use the other hand.
This is the difference between a Hanasuki and a Garasuki.
That's quite substantial.
Size.
Yeah.
Size is the difference.
So what are we talking like, Hanasukis, we always talk about like chickens and ducks. Are we talking like geese and turkeys with a Garasuki?
Same things. Chickens,
Same
ducks,
things.
the whole bit.
You just want a bigger one.
Yeah.
I can
And
understand
single
that.
bevel. Garasukis are almost always single bevel.
Oh, okay.
At least the ones I've seen, right?
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've never seen one. I've only just. I've
But
heard
this
the
is
word.
on the website as a Hanasuki. We haven't gone down the road of calling it Garasuki. It'd be the only one.
Oh, well, here's a good couple questions about garage sale logistics. So is there any more being added to the garage sale?
Yes.
We just had a bunch of stuff today come in. That's what Kevin had, they had found a box. A bunch of stuff is coming in.
By
So keep
Thursday,
an eye-
by Thursday night, Mike and I are doing another live here. By Thursday night, Mike and I are doing a live thing here, 5 to 9 Mountain Time. So that would be your
Okay.
time, Chris. That'd be 7 to 11.
7 to 11 on
7 to
Thursday
11
night.
Eastern time. Thursday
Obviously.
night, Mike and I are doing another live thing like this. But we will have more knives for garage sale.
Amazing. Well,
Because
there was even a
like,
couple tonight we were
we
talking
got
about. that are
three
new.
skids. We got three skids of product arrived today.
Yeah.
And we didn't have any raw room to put a skid in, so our guy took one of the skids away. He's bringing another one tomorrow already.
Oh, wow.
Like,
So
that
there
they
you go.
physically get in the store today or in the warehouse today. So
And then the Spanish Shawa is saying, do you folks have a general time frame on the orders made during this garage sale? So
what do you mean?
I'm presuming they mean shipping.
All right,
that's what-
I'll tell you all about shipping. Generally, we ship the day or the next day.
Yeah.
We get the order. Garage sale is really, really busy time. And we are much more interested right now in making sure the knife is perfect, sharp, looks perfect, and is the right knife. Because we get busy, it's easy to make mistakes. So we've got
It sucks when you put the wrong knife in the wrong box.
So we've got 4 people packing boxes instead of 2, and plus each store is also shipping stuff out. But we are trying to go a little bit slower, so we might ship after 3 or 4 days. Some people ship after 1 day. Like some knives will get shipped in 1 day or 2 day, but it might be up to 3 or 4 days. That's only because we want it to be perfect, right? Sending you the wrong knife or sending you a knife that's not perfectly sharp doesn't help anybody. So we don't want to go fast and make mistakes. So we're actually going to go a little bit efficient but slow. Like we're not going to make mistakes. So
I had to sharpen I had to tune up a couple of knives that left yesterday. Like it happens. We want to make sure that it's perfect.
We're doing our best, right? We're doing our best, but now our best might be 1, 2, 3, or 4 days before it ships, right? But we just want to make it perfect.
You should have heard the guy who worked at the post office. We have a post office around the corner, so we just like carry all the boxes over.
Don't you love it? You bring stuff to the post office and they complain that you brought too much. It's like it's your job.
Yeah,
it's like your job. Right?
So we've got this like shitty little red wagon, and like when I was in the store all by myself, and I was like bringing like 30 boxes over a day all by myself. I had like ties, like I was like strapping boxes down to my wagon. They had to go. It took 2 of them. With like Sean had like these big like IKEA grocery bags full of boxes, and Mike had the wagon, and Luke just cursed and swore at us. But it's kind of fun of it. It's part of the fun too. Like, what can we get him to say today?
I remember when we used to use the post office down the street from the Calgary shop, but when we were starting to get really busy, and we were too stupid to know that we could get the Canada Post to come pick up from us. But
I thought about that today.
And it was literally, it was half a block away. That's when I would load up my Nissan Cube to the top, just fill every corner of it, and then drive half a block. And then unload.
Better than making
and then it would
15
take
trips by foot.
No, but it would take them like 90 minutes or an hour.
Yeah. Well, all he does now when we come in with that many, he says, just stack them up over there. He doesn't even like the paperwork and everything is out the window. He doesn't, he's nuts.
Anyway, we're trying to make it awesome. We're trying to get them shipped as best we can. Did I miss any fun questions?
We talked a lot about, I learned a lot.
Well, that's
I learned a lot because
Naoto, as you know, he got one more trip than I did. So I haven't been to Japan since October of last year. But he was in January or February, and he met 4 new people that I've never met yet, because I was supposed to go meet them in April. But this thing happened. Do you know about this thing?
I heard about it.
I was supposed to go, but it didn't happen. So Naoto has got some secret information on a few of these knives and a few of these makers that I don't have. Yeah. So that's why I grabbed him.
It also helps that Naoto can read the books.
Well, there's that too.
That's what people will ask me. It's I think I disappoint a lot of people when they come up and they say, "Oh, what's this knife say?" I'm like, I don't know. You're lucky I can speak English, dude. Like,
look at you.
Yeah, look at me. What level of expectations do you have? You should probably figure that out. When you get a look at this guy, he can't even make his own bed. That's what they should say when they see me. He may or may not sleep in a car.
Somebody says, thanks for the help, guys. I was curious what the Western knife for 149 was. I couldn't find it. Are you talking about Mighty Michu? Are you talking about this one, which is a Tojiro Omuro? Tojiro, so T-O-J, here. T-O-J-I-R-O. Omuro, so it's like O.
I think it was the Santoku. I think that it was the Santoku in that line was what Naoto had shown. Yeah.
So just put Tojiro, O-B-U-R-O. O-B-O-B-O-R-O. Oboro. There you go, Mighty Michu. Greg says
Greg,
it turns out Kevin's dad joke book was shipped with his knife, which is a bummer.
yeah, I paid for that to happen. I gave Naoto $20.
And Iceberg Moma has just been banned from watching us on YouTube ever again.
That's not true.
No, banned. Iceberg Moma, banned. Can't come back. Nope, not
He can't actually stop you. Because between the two
banned.
of
I
us,
told you you're
I'm
banned.
somehow the
Stop commenting.
yeah. That's all he can do is just yell at you and say you're banned. Because between the two of us, I'm the one who figured out how to set all this up. And
Jean-Luc Barton says, will there be dad jokes in the rewrite of the knife book? That's outstanding.
You should just stick a couple in the acknowledgements.
This could it be? Oh my God, maybe that's.
You just hide them. Hide them throughout.
Well, Shelly might catch them when she edits it.
Yeah, but you could tell her what to do. That's fine.
I'm a little bit
I don't
scared.
know. Well, that's good. You should be.
Here's one for Kevin. You've mentioned that the Mortaka Hanazuki was just a shape you added to the order sheet. Any chance of having them do an Ishime tank? No, I don't want them. That's a totally. The tank is a Shiba and Akeda original shape. I don't want to step on their toes and steal that shape. Just like I would never ask someone to make a finger notch like Fujiwara.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's kind of.
I don't think that's. Although I love the idea, I don't think it's.
Yeah.
It's. Oh my God, Iceberg Momo's come to the Calgary store to show up with a bag of potatoes. You're banned. I told you that, Iceberg Momo.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we have to make chips one day, man.
We'll get to it one day.
Speaking of, I saw Springhammer a while ago. Quite a difference seeing Kevin of 2017. Oh, that was 2013, Kevin. Not 2020.
Yeah.
So that was 7 years ago, and I got old and fat, and different hair. Well, this is my COVID hair.
Yeah.
I'm just rocking some COVID hair here. This has got nothing to do with anything. I'd like to get a haircut, but
one thing that doing all of these
long now.
One of these the things I've learned from doing all these Zoom YouTube videos is how much of my hair has fallen out.
Oh yeah?
In the last, yeah, oh look at it. Yeah, it's all like it's terrible. That's why I'm not cutting it. It might not come back.
Stuff to do here. I think I should be in the acknowledgements now. Okay, Jean-Luc Martin, that's actually a smart idea too.
So Jean-Luc says, I've always wondered why no one else is doing the finger notch. Did Fujiwara patent it or something? I think if you pissed off Fujiwara, you'd be missing a finger. I think he'd come over and, yeah, I wouldn't fuck with him.
Go out to the backyard for your new author photo for the book so you can claim to be outstanding in your field. Oh,
God damn it, Don.
I've wondered why nobody else is doing the finger notch. No, he would just kill us.
Yeah.
I thought it was 3 years ago because it was uploaded to YouTube in 2017. Yeah, but we shot it in 2013. And it wasn't uploaded for a lot of reasons until 2017.
Well, we had copies on DVD for a long.
We actually had them on the website too, I think, like that you could watch beforehand. But anyway, whatever. It's a long story, but yeah, it was in the theaters in 2014. And we shot it in 2013. Iceberg Momo loves playing with me. No, you're fired. What?
Yeah, see, I told you he can't actually ban you. There's no way for him to do that.
You're banned. You're banned from YouTube. No more.
You're banned from YouTube.
Yeah, that's how it
Just watch on Facebook. Right? He didn't tell you not to watch them.
If you're suggesting things to Mortaka, I vote for more Ishime AS knives. That's a great idea. I've already ordered 20 AS Hanazuki for May's garage sale.
Oh, wonderful.
Hey guys, sorry if you answered this before. Any idea when you'd be getting them? Koishi 210 back in stock. That's a great, I don't know if that's a joke or not because we had a long talk about it already today. But here's the situation with that knife. They don't make enough. They can't make enough. They don't make enough. It's our number one selling knife. It's been our number one selling knife for years now, like maybe 6 or 7 years. When that knife is in stock. So if you really want one, go to the page that says contact me when the 210 Masakagi Koishi Gyuto is back in stock. When you get an email saying it's back in stock, buy it exactly when you get the email.
Yeah, so if you go to the product page, there's a little button it'll say out of stock, and then there's a little red button under that says notify me when available. You click on that, you stick your email in, and that puts you on the waiting list that Kevin's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to make sure you get it.
Yeah. If you get an email for anything you're on the waiting list for, if you get an email and you don't buy it or it's out of stock by the time you try to buy, you actually have to get back on that list. We just learned that today.
Yeah.
Also, Don Penny says he's not buying any more knives this year.
Don Penny's full of shit.
Was that my
now?
I actually thought that so loud.
This is the stage I'm at now, where the filter has just got flicked off, and you're just gonna get, if it pops into my brain, it's probably gonna come out. I'm like Ron Burgundy with the teleprompter. If you like, the filter is minimal at this point. So
Annabelle says, what knives did you sell the first? Murata, Hadayuki, Yokuma.
Yeah.
Were among the first. We're in there, yeah.
Yeah.
And then some other stuff. Masakagi's came pretty early into the thing because luckily they wanted me to help them design them so they could reach a wider Western audience with those knives. So that was exciting to work with those blacksmiths and help them design those lines. So
yeah, because Murata made like one of your first knives, right?
Yeah, my first 3 Japanese knives. One was the Yokuma.
Yeah.
15. It was a 180 Sentoku.
Yeah, I got one here.
Was a 180, and this is the funniest thing. I just bought 2 knives of the same. I bought a 180 Gyuto. That was from Murata. That was my second.
Yeah, I don't have any of those to
first
store.
time. And then my 3rd Japanese knife was a knife I still haven't used. Because I bought.
You told me about that knife.
I bought that knife from Camo-san, and Iceberg Mama's back. I bought that knife from Camo-san, and my plan was to not actually use it until I opened my own restaurant, and I haven't opened a restaurant yet. So I still have that knife in a box somewhere. You haven't even seen it, Chris. I'll pull it out. I'll try to remember to pull it out for one of these things and show you guys.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Iceberg Mama said that huge single bevel Hanasuki is very tempting. I'll need to choose between that and a 240 Gyuto. Oh my God, get that Hanasuki. It's wicked. We were retiring any more demo knives. The majority were gone within the first 5 minutes. Yes, we will be retiring more demo knives at the May Garage sale.
Yeah.
And there's one in front of me here that I was told hasn't been sold yet, but I don't know what it is. So it's gone now too.
There's something with my camera this whole time. It looks like I've been in like, it's very rosy. I don't know what it is. Maybe there's just a light on me or something.
I can't find
but I think
it's time for you to go, isn't it, Chris?
It's time for me to go.
You've worked hard. Your brain's mushed.
Yeah, like I've been an idiot this entire time, like more so than usual. I don't know if you heard, Naoto was trying to explain SG2 versus Ginsan, and I somehow compared it to SG2 as Ivan Drago in Rocky 4 versus Rocky Balboa in Rocky 4, one being built in a lab and the other one training in a farm. So it made a lot of sense to me. Naoto was very polite, but
he's used to putting up with my stupidity. So yeah. I get it. I get it.
Yeah. So
he's a very
this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna tell everybody. I'm gonna just give everyone the rundown real quick. Garage sale is a week-long affair. All right. There's more stuff coming in on a regular basis. We're doing these videos a couple more times during the week. Thursday night, Friday afternoon. We're anticipating, new knives showed up today. Some more new ones are showing up tomorrow. Don't kick the door down in Ottawa looking for these new knives because they're going to take a week to get here. So cruise around on the website, knifewear.com. If you have questions, hit up the help desk, hello@knifewear.com. Don't go sending me, private Instagram messages because I won't answer those. I'm sleeping the next 2 days. So
you're taking days off, eh? That's kind of fun.
Yeah, tomorrow and the day after are my days off. So I might have to come in and do a little bit of sharpening in the morning, get the team settled, but they'll get what they'll get, and it'll be a version of me right now. So they'll get a grumpy Chris sharpening their knives, all jacked up on black coffee. So that's what happens. So, well, Sultan, sometimes you're supposed to buy, you think you're buying a petty and you end up with a bunka. Sometimes you think I don't know. That happens to me all the
These
time.
things happen, man. Sometimes
happens.
you think you're just gonna. I don't
Just
know.
means that the one you wanted was the wrong one and the one you got was the right one. So I'm going to say goodnight. It was nice to chat with you, Kevin. Say goodbye to Nauto for me. It was nice chatting with him. I don't get to
actually
talk to
think
him
they've
very
locked
often.
me- I think they've left and locked me in the warehouse, and I don't have a key to let myself out.
Okay, well, if you need me to call somebody, let me know.
I might sleep here on the Conroe.
On the Conroe skids and the bubble wrap. Could be worse.
Sometimes you think you're going to talk about SG2, and then you talk about Rocky 4. Sometimes you tune into Kill Time, and Lordy shows you knives you decide you must buy. Oh God, these things happen.
It's true. You know what? I'm just surprised and grateful that everyone seems to enjoy this. So
Yeah.
I have fun doing it. And you know what? If you guys stop laughing, I'll stop doing it. So.
All right, I'm gonna go because I actually think I've been locked in here.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go before I fall asleep.
I've got a bunch of
So
knives.
I'll talk to you guys soon.
I'm just gonna shop all night.
You just
Chuck, Chris.
Just
Thanks.